What's up, banana bunch? Bunch? Bunch?
Welcome to the Junglejims podcast.
What's up, Banana Bunch? You know what time it is? It's time for another episode of the Junglejims podcast. I'm your host, Mark. Welcome to the show. Guess what, everyone? It's finally here, the weekend of fire. Are we excited? I'm excited. I've barely gotten to leave the house this summer, and I've made arrangements to be at the weekend of fire this weekend. Hopefully no one I work with watches this, because I was hoping that I would surprise them, but I don't know if we're going to be lucky or not on that one. I don't know if anybody at work does really watch this, so maybe they'll all be very surprised. I'm really looking forward to it. Huge thanks to my pal Jeremy over at the Andrew J. Brady Icon Center, whatever they're calling it now, for helping take care of me and all that good stuff. And that way he can come to the festival with me too. It's great. Jeremy, you rule. Great guy. Really looking forward to this. Of course, if you want tickets right now, and we'll talk about the whole episode's Weekend of Fire theme. The tickets are available now. You can get them at junglefest.com, or I think the easiest way is to follow Junglejims on Eventbrite, and then you'll get notifications for future events. You can follow us on there, and that's where we'll be selling all of our tickets. So the tickets are available for both Saturday and Sunday. Both days start at 11 o'clock. We've got like eating contests, spice things, all that kind of good stuff. It's a really good time. And you know, I keep mentioning this, and you'll hear it in today's interview as well. But there's really something for everyone. It's not just about like high spice food. I think that's kind of a common misconception in the hot sauce game, because the thing is, I would almost go so far as to just call this a sauce festival. There were so many options, from like something with no spice at all the way to something that was incredibly spicy. I really think there's something for everyone. We've got a cool down zone this year, so if the heat gets too much, we got things like slushies and ice cream and that kind of stuff to cool it off. I think that's going to be a good time. I have a feeling I might just spend all of my time there. But I'm really looking forward to it. Like I said, tickets are still available. And you know, as I'm thinking about this, somewhat unrelated to the festival, you know, we've been doing this all summer, but I see my guy back here. I think I called him Flavio, but no one ever gave him a name. I'm a little let down by everybody. We should try to name him one more time. Even though you're all like, why is there a baby in a case on the wall at Mark's house? What is this kabuki mask at Mark's house? I have all kinds of strange things here. That's from the video game Death Stranding. Where are my Kojima fans? So it's a replica of the baby they wear in the game. Here, I'll show you a couple other things on here. This is one of my favorite performance photos of me and my friend Nick Triantos that we used to play a band together forever ago. But we used to throw these cool warehouse parties. And then COVID killed all of my fun. Until I met Junglejims, and that was great. But that was great. You know, I'm a big Van Halen fan, so of course I have to rep. This is a running joke between me and my pal Greg Renoff. Greg wrote, I call him like the Van Halen historian. He wrote a really popular book that has recently been optioned into a film called Van Halen Rising. And we have a running gag about how people hate Diver Down because there's all the covers of it, but it's a great record. Women and Children First, you know, and then some art I've collected over the years. But that's not that important. We really got to name little Flavio down here. He deserves something. Okay, cool. So before we get into the interviews this week, and I'll set that up, I just want to remind you all, download the Junglejims app. You get to see weekly ads. You even get to see the next week's ad as early as, I believe John said it was the Thursday of that week. It could be Wednesday, but early in the week, you'll get an advanced look at next week's ad, which I think is really cool. It's good to plan. You can find out some of the deals that are coming up and all that good stuff. And then there's a little thing in this little thing. Oh God, too much Haley Welch. There's a little button where you can get app exclusive deals. So we'll sometimes have even additional discounts above and beyond the great deals we're already running in the store. And then you can just scan the barcode at the checkout, and they'll take the discount off right there. It's really cool. Very easy. Very cool. I'm excited. You can, of course, watch most recent episodes of the podcast if you want to hang out in my living room with me. And yeah, that's it. I think those are really some of the best stuff. I cannot wait to get back into my studio and get some deals. I think this is like the penultimate episode in my living room. Maybe? I don't know. How do you all feel? I mean, it doesn't seem to have affected anybody except for one lady that left an angry comment on last week's video. So cool. I guess thanks everybody. I really appreciate let's just say this. I appreciate not only just everyone's understanding across the board, both from like my coworkers, my employers, everybody at Beacon Orthopedic that jumped through hoops to get my workers' comp stuff straightened out, and then to the select handful of people who have really tried to help me out and take care of me this summer. I love you guys. I appreciate you so much. It's really nice. You find out who your friends really are in these moments, and while I'd be remiss to be like, oh well, there's less of them than I thought. That's not the point. The point is it's the quality of people, and if I can get on my soapbox for one last second, it's like I've had a billion thoughts. Wait till you hear all the stuff I'm cooking up. Hopefully everybody at work goes on board for it, because otherwise I'm just gonna sell it to another competitor. I'm joking, maybe. But the one of my biggest takeaways during all this is that I missed doing things, right? I miss going out. I miss being around the public. I miss being with all of you in the store. I miss having access to literally everything I could ever want in the store, from drinks to food to I cannot tell you how bad the produce has been in the 2 months I've been out. It's terrible. I genuinely cannot shop at my competitors anymore. But I just think about how it was hard. You spend a lot of time isolated alone. You can't do anything. I'm not able to drive, so I really can't go anywhere. And those are things that I derive a lot of joy from. I like being a part of the action, I like being a part of the things. But I think my one realization after all this is just that it kind of doesn't matter what you're doing in life, so long as you get to do it with people you love and that love you back. It's trite, maybe. I don't know. People say that stuff all the time, but you really never think about it until you're all alone. And so it means a lot. So anyway, for those of you who've been there for me, I love you guys, truly, all of you. You wonder, I'm very, very happy to have a pretty, realistically, a very tight-knit, small circle of people that I can really rely on when times get tough. So thank you all for all of that. Not going to get that emotional on the show yet. This is not tears worthy, but I just, feeling the love a little bit in some regards. So very sweet of all of you. Okay, well, now that I've said all that, let's get to the more fun part of the show. So like I said, Weekend of Fire is coming up, so I reached out to one of my favorite people that I met last year at the show, Eddie from Stanky Sauce. They're really good. Again, another great brand that has everything from no heat to very high heat. I think mild to wild would be a good descriptor, right? They were great. They were fun. I love the logos. I love their energy. So I was like, hey guys, you want to come do a little promo with me for this? And they came and joined me. So I'm going to introduce you to the brains behind Stanky Sauce, Eric and Eddie Stankiewicz. Welcome to the show, Stanky family. How we doing today, gentlemen?
We're doing great.
Awesome.
Good,
Hey,
man,
welcome
good.
back. And Eric, yes, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it, guys. Well, we wanted to get this going with some of the Weekend of Fire promo and all that good stuff. And I know we hit it off last year because that was my first Weekend of Fire, but I really enjoyed the sauces that you sampled. I was like, hey, these guys were a lot of fun. Let's bring them on to talk about the brand and all that. So who wants to go first? If you guys want to introduce yourselves, and we'll talk a little bit about Stanky Sauce.
Well, I'm Eddie, and
I'm Eric.
we're the Stanky brothers. So, I'm the older of the two brothers, and I started this company back in. Well, the idea came up in 2018.
Okay.
We officially decided to make it a business in 2020, and launched in 2021. For the most part, it was me running everything for the first year and a half, and then about 2 years ago, Eric joined me full time. Helping me out. Originally it was a sole proprietor LLC, and as of this year, the business has actually shifted and it's a partnership. So, little known fact, the business now, how our entity is actually very new because it only started in January, but now we're both owners of the business. So I gave him half the business, and we stay Stanky Sauce, but we used to be Stanky LLC, and now we are Stanky Brothers LLC.
Oh, I love that. A little upgrade, huh? That's awesome.
49%,
about
not
all that. Did he
50%.
meet all of your demands?
Well, he still kind of does everything, but he gave me 49%, not 50%.
Yeah.
But yeah, Eddie started this. I kind of just helped him out a little bit. I was still working. I worked 15 years at the Walt Disney Company, and then I decided to make the jump to do this full time with him. I don't look back. I don't regret it. It's been a really fun adventure. But yeah, it's been interesting learning about the hot sauce community, the hot sauce world. I was never big into hot sauces. I've always been more of a grilling and barbecue guy. I'm definitely a fan now. But yeah, it's been a fun adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
At least 49% more invested
course.
now in the hot sauce world.
100%.
Erica, before we go too far, and I know this is not really that important, but I am just curious, what did you do for Disney?
So I was a retail manager for just about 15 years, and
okay.
I worked everywhere from Magic Kingdom. I was there for 6 years. I worked at the resorts. I worked at Hollywood Studios. Most recently, the spot that I jumped from, I was at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So I came on about a month after they had opened to kind of help them maintain and sustain everything. Then COVID happened, and then everything else was just crazy. But yeah, I was a retail manager for 15 years.
So green milk or blue milk is the important question.
It depends on the day. I usually go with the blue milk just because I am a fan of the color blue. But I don't know. I like the blue one a little bit better.
That's cool. They were grilling me when I was in the park like a year or so ago. They're like, which one's better? And it was like, I don't know, some guy outside the cantina who I'm pretty sure was from Italy, had a very thick accent, but he was happy that I answered green and not blue. But I was like, I don't know. They were both kind of delicious. Anyway, well, that's a very cool start. And I was curious about that switch for you because I was ultimately going to lead this into Eddie. Like, how did this start for you? What were you doing before hot sauce that made you go, I should turn the heat up?
So I was also a Disney manager for 7 years in retail operations. So I worked in resorts and Hollywood Studios. So my last 5 years were at the All-Star Resort. And so both of us have over 20 years combined retail merchandise experience and customer service experience. And that all kind of I left it 10 years ago. So I've done some things in between, but that really led us to how we're positioning our brand and our company. It really is about, there's a story, there's a brand behind it, there's a mission, and it really is all about the consumer and the consumer experience. So after Disney, I went on to work for Enterprise Rent-A-Car for about 1.5 years, and I quickly moved up the ladder. I moved back to Miami, then I got transferred to Key West. So I got to live in Key West for a while. Came back, worked at the airport, left. Then I helped my cousin start up. I was unemployed for 5 months. My cousin calls me. He's like, I need some help. He's in pharmaceutical. I need just someone to do some day-to-day stuff. So I helped him take his company from a spreadsheet of like 12 customers to over 500 customers by the time I left 7 years later. So we built, a pharmaceutical distribution. I mean, what we built there was amazing. And his mission was always like, you will not work for me forever. I need you to learn as much as you can from this experience, from everything you've done, and figure out what you're going to do for yourself. And that's where that conversation comes in 2018, when I'm like, okay, it's time for me to start thinking, what am I going to do for myself? Eric and I have always talked about creating something, a company, a brand, and just throwing the word Stanky on there, or the name Stanky, because that is our childhood nickname. It's short for our last name, Stankiewicz. So it's a big part of who we are. And there's so much more to the Stanky name than just like a funny word, or just short for our last name. So I said, finally, hey, we're going to do this. I was doing well in pharmaceuticals, so I self-funded the whole startup. And a few years later, I left. So actually, it's been a year. It's been about 15 months since I officially left, which I left right before my US tour last year, which is where we met. So right before that, so Jungle Gyms was right in the middle, where I did that 5-week tour where I went to Illinois, to Cincinnati, to Pennsylvania, to New England, to Portland, to Colorado, and I did, the whole country. I drove it 28,000 miles in 5 weeks. So, and that was the beginning of me being fully Stanky, right? No other job. But the brand is really, it's about creating something that the whole family can enjoy. We want to be a household name. Our brand, our flavors are not just about like, let's burn your face off, and nothing against that, because there's a time and place for it all. But we want to be, hey, do you have the ketchup, the mayo, the mustard, the stanky sauce? Like, we don't want, one of our original taglines is, we're more than just a hot sauce, we're stanky sauce. So we want to be called stanky sauce, not hot sauce. If that makes sense, that's how we want to be identified as. And, we just want to create flavors that families like, that kids like, that people just taste and say, wow, this is different, this is interesting. And it really is about like taking people on that adventure, on that journey. So that's why we always talk about feeding adventure.
I love that so much. And my real takeaway here is that nobody really wants to work for Disney forever.
Hey man, I would go back if it gets to the point that I sell stanky, or it's working on its own, and I just need, I just want to like be around people 2 days a week. I just get a part-time job, like
exactly.
even sweeping, custodial, like, I think when every job that you have in life, you have to just understand your role. And that's one of the things I've always taken, like, especially when I was at Disney, I knew what I was there for. So if I ever go back, I know what I'm going for, and it's strictly to just be around people again.
No, I love that too.
That's what it is.
On a way more serious side, I think you touched on something that I've kind of spoken about it a couple times on the show, and I bring it up a lot while I've been doing promo, because I've still made time to get like, not made time, but made arrangement rather to be able to go out and do some like news promo and stuff like that for the Hot Sauce Festival, right? And when I get out there and start promoting it, I start thinking about this, because my first time doing the Weekend of Fire for Jungle Gyms was last year when I met you. And one of my favorite takeaways, well, there are two. If I want to give myself props, I was like, oh, I thought I had a pretty good ceiling for heat tolerance, but it's actually taller than I thought. So I was proud about that and excited. But more importantly is that I think, because the word hot obviously interests a specific lane of customer, I was kind of concerned. I was like, how do I get people interested in just the world of hot sauce in general, right? Because there's so many people who are like, well, anything hotter than mayo is too hot for me. And I'm just like, okay, well, the thing is, we have a lot of things at that heat level, though, at this, and one of the things I really liked about trying your sauces is that it was again, I know it's been a year, but it was a pretty wide array of both heat levels and interesting flavors. Well, obviously, there's going to be some crossover overall, but like, I thought all the flavors were really unique. The taste was great. And there's something from mild to wild.
Yep. And that's actually one of the things we say, from our sweet and mild to somewhat wild. This is our flavor lineup.
That's so cool. Do you have a favorite one in the lineup?
Yeah, I do.
What's yours, Eric?
It's funny. So I love the honey mango habanero. That's been one of our OGs and my favorite one since day one. But the one in that photo that Eddie's showing right next to it, that garlic daddle pepper, is quickly coming up the ranks. It's delicious. I put it on pretty much everything. But the honey mango one has a special place in my heart.
Oh, they both sound so good.
And mine is the pineapple habanero ghost.
Yes.
But this garlic is actually, same as Eric says, it's coming up. My mom just called me today and she's like, I made this sandwich, and this chicken sandwich, and I used the garlic daddle pepper sauce. So we just launched this at the beginning of this month. So it's a brand new sauce. We'll have it available this weekend, as well as our pumpkin spice ghost, which is a seasonal sauce that doesn't launch for another like 3 weeks or so. We don't launch that till September. So we have like a sneak peek, but after the show, garlic daddle will be available in Jungle Gyms. They're already bringing it in, which is really cool because it's only been on the market for 20 days. So, but it's a funny thing that you mentioned about being afraid of the heat tolerance, or not being, but just being more aware or conscious about it. Like, a lot of people are like that. They don't realize that they have the heat tolerance that they that they have, because the word hot sauce, the word
Right.
hot is something in their mind that's like preventing them from like trying something new. So when we're like, well, start here, and then by the time they're done, they went through the whole lineup, and then I was like, how are you doing? It's like, oh, I feel it, like it's hot, like, but I'm not crying. And that's something that's part of like the feeding adventure, the challenge. Like, hey, you can handle this. You just have to believe in yourself, right? Or not think too much about it. Now there's some sauces out there that'll light you up.
For sure.
I've had some people come, like Johnny Scoville has come up to me and taken something out of his pocket. It's like, you want to try this? It's like, oh man, I know I'm in for it, but let's do it,
Yeah.
So
I'm like, let me get the Tums out. I'm gonna get a bottle of orange juice
Yes.
to burn, you know what I mean, to neutralize the burn, and then I'm in, Johnny.
yeah.
I watched so many people destroy themselves last year at the festival, but I was one who, like, again, I eat a lot of ethnic cuisine in general. So generally, especially like the Asian stuff I tend to eat, all has a much more, how should I say, aggressive spice note anyway.
Yeah.
But even still, even knowing that I could hang, I was still always one of those guys who was like, ghost peppers in this, probably not going to even bother trying it. And I was kind of wrong for doing that, because they're, not saying they're not hot, but like, I don't know. I'm one of those try everything twice type of people, because who knows? Maybe on the first day I had a bad Saturday, but maybe tomorrow it's going to be even better. Who knows? I'm lightly adventurous, at least.
Yeah. Eric always tells me that, especially when he's having me try a new beer. Like, I'll get the sip, and I'm like, ugh, and he's like, before I drink, he's like, don't do the face. He's like, 30 seconds later, he's like, take another sip. And then I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, don't judge it on the first taste. So
Yeah, that's a great point too. I love it. Don't do the face. I know the face too. I make it. Well,
Yeah.
so we talked about the pumpkin spice. Any other fun new things coming down the pipeline too that can I get a Jungle Gyms exclusive?
So we're working. Well, we already have our next mainstream flavor that will be introduced. It's still secret, but it's a take on a classic. That's all I'll say. It'll be our spiciest one. As of right now, we go up to the 4 monkeys on the adventure meter.
Okay.
We're right now, the hottest one we have is at 3 monkeys. This next one will be at the 4. So it'd definitely be our hottest one. But again, the toughest thing is to have that balance of flavor and heat. And a lot of people who have high tolerances, they can feel the flavor on a 4, a 5 heat scale thing, but your average consumer will not. So where can we still have a hot and use, in this case, it's going to be Carolina Reaper. Where can we use that where the consumer might start sweating, and I definitely sweat with it, but you still get that flavor, that sweetness in there. And that's the challenge always, is we want to make sure that the average consumer can try this and not regret it, So, and then that the chili head community will also appreciate it for the flavors in there. They understand that our sauces aren't the ones that you're bringing in to just light yourself up. This is your casual dining type of, although I do understand that there's a few people in the world that casually dine with the bomb. I don't know why, but hey, to each their own.
I can actually think of one of those people right now. I always love this. He's a comedian, musician, one of the most beautiful singing voice I've ever heard. A friend of mine named Six, and one of my favorite stories ever was about him eating chicken wings one night at one of our friends' houses, and he's just like, "You have any hot sauce?" And our buddy's like, "Not really. All I have right now is the bomb." And he goes, "Oh yeah, whatever." And then we're sitting there like, get a Q-tip and just dab a little on there and make sure it's good. And dude is just seriously drizzling it all atop the wing, and then eats a significant amount of chicken wing leftovers with a ton of sauce, says nothing, has no reaction. And we're all just like, are you okay? Good stuff. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. Those casual diners, they seem to be few and far between, but they are out there.
Yeah, they're out there.
I love that about the chili head community, though. What I found is so fun in general is that it is like an interestingly tight-knit community, and I don't see that too often. I just hit my 3rd anniversary with Jungle Gyms.
I haven't really seen any specific groups pop out, right? It's not like the cheese people all get together and like, we love all these different camemberts. You know what I mean? But like the sauce people I'm always hoping, I'm a soda guy. I would love to find soda heads. I wish that was a thing, right?
Wow.
But like the hot sauce community is really a tight knit one. They seem very supportive of each other. You know, I find that fascinating. Do you have any insight on that?
So I will say that when I first started doing the hot sauce thing with Eddie, that was the first thing that really caught my attention, was the chili head community in general. And I mean, the more you go to some of these events, the wider array of type of person you have that's considered a chili head. But we are 100% correct, man. It is very inviting, super welcoming. You know, it's a really cool group of people. And the funny thing is that most of them look super intimidating, or, you know, they have all the tattoos or the piercings, and they're not the average person that most people will walk up and kind of talk to, but they are the nicest people in the world. Just cool people looking to have a good time.
So yeah, it like reminds me it almost feels like a music community. I don't know how to just, you know what I mean? It's like, I feel like it's like, maybe it's like there's a little crossover. Maybe these same people would also be willing to go to concerts with me, but it's like that kind of energy. You know what I mean? I love that. And I'm glad you guys get to experience it in such a positive way too.
Well, it's something that we go and we talk about when we were creating the brand originally. Everything in this community has to do with art. Like, so there's this art in crafting a sauce. There's the art in crafting art, like physical painting or drawings. Like, you know, you could see our labels. There's artists that work on everything. So nothing here is, you know, we don't go to Fiverr or Upwork and say, I need artwork done. Like, we know every artist behind each one of these labels. But on top of that, like musicians, like, so there is something between the artwork, and like, we love street art, you know, aka graffiti, music and food, and it really, all three elements come together. And that's something that Eric is the musically talented one. I'm not. So, but we love to try to just bring everything together. But dude, when we go to some of these events, for instance, I'll bring up Fiery Food Show in Albuquerque, because we get together with, I mean, you have 150 vendors there, and we get together usually with the Sauce Leopard. He has like a suite and he invites us all. We call it the Leopard Lounge. You can put together 3 different bands with just the people in that group. You have 3 lead singers, 3 lead guitarists, bass, drum, piano. You have a DJ. You have me on the triangle. You know, everybody has a role, and we could really create 3 different bands just with the group of people, because these guys are so musically talented. Sometimes I'm sitting around and I'm just like, I'm the only one who cannot play an instrument in this room. Like, you know, Eric could play any instrument, almost every instrument. Like, he could figure them out. I still haven't been able to even figure out the guitar, but you know, I have a guitar, I strum it. So
hey, that's good. That's all you need sometimes.
yeah.
All right, Eric, I got to ask, do you have a favorite instrument to play out of all of them? What can I prepare for our inevitable jam session at the Jungle Gym studio?
I do love the guitar. That's what I've played my whole life. But I consider the turntables an instrument. I was a DJ when I was cool. I was about in 4th grade, I think, when I got my first set of turntables. So you put me on a set of, I like to call them decks. You put me on a set of turntables, and I could go to town for hours.
Oh my gosh. All right. Now I'm like, you know, I'm always, you can imagine that I've been at home for like the last 7 weeks, something like that. I've had a lot of time to think about things and how I'd like to do them different. Now I'm just like, there's got to be like a hidden talent show event that we should do as a festival, where we like combine both the products, because this conversation occurs in so many of these calls. We're like, oh, what's the secret thing that you're passionate about? Great. I needed a drummer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh yeah. I'd love that. I currently only got guitars and a keyboard in my office, but we'll figure something out. I'll get a couple decks in there. We'll show off. So
nice.
It's funny because I have a 1-year-old, and all of the toys that she's getting now are all like musical toys. So I'll sit there and I'll figure out Mary had a little lamb and play it with her and stuff like that. But yeah, random tangent. But
I saw. Oh no, I'm leading with this. I was at, I think, Target at some point recently, and cruising around on a little scooter, and I see they have like a Little Tykes DJ set, and I was just like, oh, that's cute. I guess they're preparing us all to be financially struggling at a young age. Oh my God. So like, here's a little guitar. I was like, oh yeah, I remember the $100 I made off that 20 years ago.
Yeah.
That's so cool. God, it's been an absolute pleasure, guys. Well, look, I think we should wrap this up here. Anything? Well, if someone can't make it into Weekend of Fire, if somebody can't make it into Jungle Gyms, what's an easy way for them to get sauces from you guys?
So check us out online at stankysauce.com. Maybe not today or tomorrow because our website is currently down for maintenance. So we
broke the internet.
Yeah, we broke the internet last week. So, but you can order also on Instagram and Facebook. So the Stanky Sauce is going to be our handle on all social media. So you can actually just check out on Instagram, Facebook. We have all our products on there. Pumpkin Spice Ghost will only be available at the event, and then starting September 9th, it'll be available on our website as well, but it's limited quantity. We only make 500 of them a year for the season, and once we sell out, we sell out. And last year, it didn't make it to the end of October.
So I should ask too, so as far as that one goes, I know you said you're sampling it this weekend. Are you selling it this weekend as well?
Yeah, so I'll have 3 cases of it available just for this weekend. We were in Portland last weekend, sold out of that. So we took 5 cases, sold out of that, and sold out of our garlic sauce. But I'll come loaded since I'll be driving. I'm coming loaded with garlic because we are not selling out of that. I'll tell you, if we sell out of that, I don't know what to tell you. So, but
hopefully there'll be more downstairs. Worst case,
So
that's awesome. Well, hold one of those pumpkin for me because I would love to try it. I'll make sure I will be there this weekend, and so should everyone else. Absolutely. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to do this. Literally, as soon as we wrap this up, somebody just started weed whacking right outside, and I'm like, oh, I can hear that through the building. That's amazing. What amazing timing. Anyway, gentlemen, I have to say it in case the audience hears. This is how you get ahead of the YouTube comments. But guys, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you this weekend. Eddie, Eric, hopefully you'll make it down next time. And I'll get a couple turntables set up. We'll do something fun.
That's right.
Don't play with my heart like that.
You think I'm kidding? This is a very strange grocery store. So
let's do it.
Awesome.
Gents, thanks so much for coming out. Again, everybody, get your tickets now at Eventbrite, follow Jungle Gyms, or go to junglefest.com. Tickets are available. I think we might even sell them at the door. Don't quote me at that part. Maybe call in beforehand. Just get them online. It's way easier. The price is exactly the same. It'd be silly not to. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of things going on. Come try some hot sauces with me. We got a couple competitions. I'm going to try and host some of those. We'll see how fast I'm getting around in the boot. But anyway, I hope you're all having a great week. Thanks so much for tuning in. And in the meantime, I'll see you out there in the aisles.
The Jungle Gyms podcast is recorded in the WJJI studio inside Jungle Gyms International Market in Fairfield, Ohio. The Jungle Gyms podcast is produced and hosted by Mark Borison.